And welcome back. We are going to continue work with our model. Last time we looked at merging, but this time we're going to look at extruding. So first thing I want to do is I want to change this over from object mode to edit mode. And I'm just going to go ahead and select each of these here. So I'm going to use the shift keys just so we can see these. So we'll work with each of these in different contexts. But let's primarily focus on a vertex to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and just select this corner vertex here. And if I press the E key, E is for extrude, I of course can then extrude out this vertex. And you can see I can make a point here. I can also extrude from here, make another point. Now this is a really cool thing to do, and you may not see as much value with it right now with us just having simple shapes, but there is value as we get more complex. However, this creates something called loose geometry, which is something that we have to kind of watch out for. Now, there's a little bit of a shortcut menu I haven't really introduced to you so far, which is if we press F3, it will bring up a search menu here, and we can actually look for different things. So if I start searching for loose, you can see I have different things here. So for example, I can have loose geometry. So if I start putting it there, you can see, for example, we can select all loose geometry, and it will select these points here. Now, if I want to, let's say, just get rid of these geometry points here, all right, I want to delete them out. So if I go up here and I start typing delete loose, you can see I have a delete loose option. So it deletes these loose vertices or edges, and that will allow us to clean this up here. So it's a real quick and easy way for us to kind of come in here. So if I delete loose, it can, of course, remove these out here. Now, it is, of course, treating this kind of as a full shape. If I just go ahead and, let's say, delete this one vertice out of here, now I have a single kind of point just floating out here. And if we, again, clean this up, we should, of course, get it to clean up this point right here. So with my point selected, let's go ahead and bring that up one more time with the F3 option here. So let's select that vertice. And with my vertex selected, delete loose, and you can see it is now gone. Perfect. So again, that's just something to kind of keep in mind as we start working with these different pieces here of extrusion. So let's go ahead and see an example where this extrusion might come in handy. So I'm just going to switch the Z corner here so we can kind of view up above. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this corner vertex here. And let's go ahead and just use E to extract out. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to make kind of a rough face here. So let's just extract this out. And what we want to do is get this so that way it can select here. But if I just go ahead and extrude this out one more time, it's not necessarily going to go here. So let's just press escape there to get that to cancel. Instead, I want this to select here. So holding on the shift key, we're going to select this, and then we can extrude. And then, we accidentally have two of these going, so we don't actually want that. Instead, we want to take this point here, and we want to extrude it out. And we want to get it so that we can lock into this point here. And then what we're going to want to do is to fill this in here. So if we want to truly get this to connect here, I'm just going to Control Z just to back this up a second here. What I actually want to do, again, we want to select this point here. So we have these selected, and let's press the F key, and you'll see it automatically fills that in. All right, and that's the trick there. We don't actually extrude from this vertice to this vertice. We're actually going to fill that in to get that to fill in that shape there. And then what we can do then is we can then select these other vertices. So I'm just going to hold down the shift key here to go ahead and make sure I grab each of these here. And then with them all selected, if I press the F key, it should fill in that face for me. And if I rotate around, you see that I now have a new face. And that's a real quick, easy way for us to get a new kind of geometry going here. Now we've seen what vertices can do, but what's if we wanted to do, for example, a edge here? So let's just go ahead and select an edge this time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press my E key to extrude. And as I extrude that, you can see I can go ahead and extrude that out. And notice it does let us angle this, so we can kind of get some different angles going on this as well. But let's just go ahead and extrude that. And let's make it so we get a nice kind of snap here. We're going to kind of make a tent kind of formation. That's looking okay there. But what if we wanted to do, let's say, a face? So if we select a face and we extrude that, you'll see that with the face, we actually get a whole kind of geometry kind of popping out from that place that we had before, which is a pretty cool way to kind of help extend certain regions of our shape here. And so we can, of course, bend this to certain directions and stuff as well, based upon how we have this behave. And we can see this in play here. Let's just see how this works here with this. So if I want to extrude out a face here, I can do that very easily. And you can see how quickly I can go ahead and start building out different shapes to really start making different things up here within my geometries. So it's a really cool way to real quickly go ahead, make, for example, different buildings, different sketches of things that I can do real quickly without having to worry about all the little nuances that might otherwise have to go into this. Alright, now it's time to go a little bit of a challenge mode here. So let's go ahead and create ourselves a building here. Alright, so using the same extrusion techniques that we've seen up to this point, let's see if we can create a building. And I'll go ahead and get you started on getting some things started with it, but I'm ultimately going to leave it in your hands of what you ultimately end up creating. So let's just go ahead and make ourselves a new animation here. And first thing I want to do is I want to take my little block here and I want to move him up 1 in the Z, so that looks great. And what we're going to do is we also want to stretch this guy out here. So if we, for example, let's press G, X, and 2. Oh, that's I wanted to actually scale that, sorry. So G, we want to do a X direction scale of 2. That looks great. So we've now scaled this out 2 in the X direction. So that's a good start here. All right, so let's go ahead and make the roof to this building. And so let's switch this over to edit mode here. And I'm going to make sure I have my different options selected here. I want to just select this face here. And I want to go ahead and press E to extrude that out. That looks okay there. And then we're going to scale this in the Y direction, but we're going to press 0 so we can get that nice point. This is, remember, we talked about when we talked about merging. And we got a nice roof here already. So we already got a nice good start here to our building. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I want you to go ahead and build this out. Add a couple more buildings, maybe a couple more different roofing options. And then when we come back in the end, I want you to go ahead and look at what I built, and let's just see what you came up with and see how that compares. Alright, so here's what I assembled. I made, of course, that simple building that we had before, and then made it kind of almost like a little bit of a church here with the little steeple on top. And this, again, just using our ability to merge and extrude. So a pretty cool little feature that we were able to do here. And that is all that we needed. It was just merging and extruding, and we're already making much more complex shapes than when we started.